Hello, people. Hello. Thank you. I'm going to go now. My name is Peter Drougge. I work as a technical evangelist in Microsoft. And I would like to say thank you for coming to my session. There's a lot of brilliant sessions. I hope I will not disappoint you. We're here today to talk about conversations for the masses, which is a bit bizarre title. But I will try to show you where we're going, the tools we have, the power behind the digital assistants and bots, and a bit of history lesson too, just for fun. So if technology is with me, let's begin. I will like to say though first that for me this is conversations as well. I'm addicted to stuff like this. Google Trips helped me get here. It told me by looking into my emails, it could tell me on my phone when my flight's leaving, when my gate's changing, where I'm going to be staying, how incredibly hard it is to get from the airport to the East End of London. All that stuff you can get from Google Trips. So my hat's off to this service. It's amazing. Well, let's begin then. Quick history of machine conversations. So conversation is really about communication. It's about interacting verbally or via text. It can be spontaneous. It's a dialogue that's social and context aware. And the Turing test that Alan Turing created in the 1950s is about machines' ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human being. The Turing test got passed by Eliza. Eliza analyzed the input and gave clever answers. And if it couldn't answer the input, she just sort of, didn't really answer, like answered with old comments and stuff like that. And then there came along someone called Pari, which was like Eliza, but worse. It was modeled after paranoid schizophrenic. But those two could pass the Turing test. We have seen a lot of this before, especially within this field. So the chat interface, the voice interface, it's not new. When I was not old, sitting on my own room, hacking away on the dial-up modem, going on IRC channels, I had fun. Then I learned to create egg drop bots. So even back then, IRC was created in, 1988 in Finland. Even then we had bots. Given they were just really not talkative, they were scripted, but they were bots. We had digital assistants too, right? Remember that guy? People laugh about him. They heard him, they call him names. But that question that he's asking right there, it looks like you're writing a letter, would you like some help? I see people today write office add-ins doing exactly that. We're writing bots that are asking exactly that question. It's like, would you like some help in doing that, sir? Yes, please, but don't show this tip again. So it's really all about conversations. In this field, there's people, there's digital assistants, and there's bots. The people and people talk just fine, as long as they're communicating in a language both understand. And people to digital assistants is sort of what I was opening with. It's the whole, they're helping us, they're teaching us. The bots and digital assistants can talk to each other too. Even bots with bots. If you're looking at financial trading, that would be bots talking to bots. So we're using human language as the new UI, both spoken and written. And this is infusing everything that we do. And it will be even more so in the years to come. You will see that. And the changes that will happen in the world of the conversational canvases. The conversational canvases is where this dialogue takes place. If you look at smartphones today, this is just 3 random start screens of a smartphone. The one on the left is mine. The 2 others from colleagues and friends. They kindly supplied me with screenshots. What is interesting about these smartphones now, because remember, when smartphones came around, everyone's like installing apps, and it's candy something, soda crush something, and it's front and center. Now, these conversational canvases are starting to take center stage. People are not just using phone and text, but their canvases too. But they're using the WeChat, they're using the WhatsApp, they're using Kik. They're probably using like a lot of stuff we don't even know about. I mean, I see some young people, so I know some people know about it. These are all channels, right? Channels where communication's been infused. This list is just a few of them. There's way too many to try and list them all. But if we were to look at 3, like just single them out, Messenger hasn't been around for that long, since 2011. But already they've surpassed more than 1 billion monthly active users. That's a lot of people using one app, one chat service. And Kik is Canadian. They've been around since 2009. They've been in this game for a while. 40% of the teens and young adults in the US use Kik. It's 40%. But by far, the one that's been the most successful is WeChat in China. So WeChat in China dominates this market. They've successfully created their own ecosystem. They have mini apps, official pages. They have more than 200 million credit cards that their users have added to their WeChat payment. And WeChat payment isn't going through the App Store, right? It's their own ecosystem. But it's so successful that more than 200,000 companies in China accept WeChat payment as currency. And WeChat, I mean, success story goes on probably. ISVs, startups, they first look to launch in WeChat before creating a native app. That's how disruptive it is. I think it's cool. Another one that's cool is Skype. We all love Skype. I love Skype. The best thing about Skype I've seen in a long time is the Skype translator. So just in text, it can translate 50 languages, probably more now. But what's really cool is that for 8 languages, it can do voice and video real-time translations. So I'm going to show you what I mean by looking at a short video. See if we got audio. We got audio.
Hi, can you guess where I live?
¿Te encuentras en América del Norte?
Yes. Do you live in central Mexico?
Sí. ¿Te encuentras en Estados Unidos de América?
Yes. Do you live in a capital city?
Sí. ¿Estás cerca de Seattle?
We are very close to Seattle. Are you in Mexico City?
Sí. ¿Estás en Tacoma?
Yes. Very good guess.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Do you like living in Mexico City?
¿Te gusta vivir en la Ciudad de México?
Aquí está muy lindo.
Here is very nice.
What do you do for fun?
¿Qué haces para divertirte?
Voy a las playas de México.
I'm going to the beaches of Mexico.
I like to swim.
Me gusta nadar.
A mí también.
Me too.
Where in the world do you wish to travel?
¿A dónde en el mundo te gustaría viajar?
A Rusia.
To Russia.
¿Y tú?
And you?
Everywhere.
Sería increíble algún día verte en México.
It would be amazing to see you someday in Mexico.
I would really like to visit you sometime.
Me gustaría mucho visitarte algún día.
A mí también.
Me too.
For me, that's about as close to magic as you can come within our industry. I mean, that opens doors, not just physical doors, but actually doors in the mind for those kids to interact and to talk and to just completely shatter the barrier that is language. So 3 things to consider so far in this presentation. That number 1 is that conversational canvases are returning to front and center stage of our smartphones, of our day-to-day life. Point 2 is that they flow across platforms. So if we're interacting, we shouldn't be bound to doing that on our smartphone or doing it on the web or our computer. It should be wherever we are. And 3, WeChat is really, really good at what they do. Moving on. So we got digital assistants, right? These digital assistants that help me find London. I used to live in London, so I can find London. We sometimes call them agents, or godbots, perhaps you've heard as well. Everyone's all of a sudden using the word godbots. So I tend to not put any sort of deity within a name. I would use agents. It's more cool. So Cortana, Siri, Alexa, Assistant, or Google Now, they're all trying to do the same thing, right? They all want to be your new best friend. They all want to be the one that gets your credit card, that gets to order your Uber without anyone paying attention to who's driving. They're on our phones, because we carry our phones with us. They're on the desktop, some of them, because we sit by our desktops. They're on the web, a few of them, because we use the web. Someone is even like within our gaming consoles. Not saying which one, you can figure that out. When these digital assistants reach the limit of their knowledge, we have the skills and actions that we can add to it, right? So skills, we got Alexa skills, like thousands of skills already being created. Now, Cortana skills, that will be opening up soon. Cortana skills, you can port Alexa skills into Cortana skills. You can create Cortana skills for yourself quite easily. The actions is just name that Google has chosen instead of skills. Hello. Quiet entry and the door slams. So, what's changed now is that they've also moved into our appliances, moved into our homes. So you have the Echo, the Alexa, you have the Home, There's speakers coming out from that one, like Harman Kardon with Cortana built in. They're within our comfort zone. They live and breathe with us. They're almost like part of our day-to-day life. When you go and lock the door at night, that Alexa is still there. That Google Home sits there and listens to you. So that whole notion about, oh, I'm not letting anyone have my data, I'm not letting anyone listen to me, you are. And you're gladly doing so. And this will be happening more and more. Don't get me wrong, privacy is crucial, but everyone takes that seriously. It's not the Wild West. Sometimes it can get out of hand, though. This was in the news a couple of days ago, almost like weeks ago. But there was this kid that accidentally, well, not accidentally, probably, ordered a dollhouse. And her mother probably thought it was cute, so she called the television and said, oh, you got to do a report about this. So they did. They interviewed her. But they also interviewed the young daughter and said, so what did you say? And she goes and says, I said, Alexa, buy a dollhouse. Yeah, you can imagine what happened. So there is toll gates, like security toll gates and parental controls built into all of these platforms that is there to prevent stuff like that from happening. But if you haven't done that, it's like Cortana. You can train it to listen to just your voice, right? Did you see this one? This is another fun example. So the police actually seized the Echo device, and then they tried to force Amazon to give them all the history from the device because they wanted to solve a murder. If you think about it, if you're committing that vile act of murder, do you really stop by the Alexa and go like, Alexa, where can I hide a body? You don't do that.
That was one of Siri's party tricks when she first came out. You could ask her, where can I hide the body?
So true. Oh.
Like, waste sites around you.
So they should probably like gotten their iPhone instead and see if they ask Siri. What we need to do, what is happening is that these digital assistants, our bots, our code, it needs to advance with intelligence. Kind of makes sense. Advance without intelligence would be kind of hard. What we're really talking in this space is machine learning. So machine learning has been around for a while, but it has really sprung to everyone's attention. All the big players are very focused on machine learning and AI right now. Things that develop fast, that comes into context here, is especially neural networks and the deep learning neural networks. So I'm not going to be trying to explain the maths behind neural networks because I can flip that upside down. I have a hard time reading it anyway. But what you should know is that the deep neural networks and neural networks in general, they try to mimic the way the brain works. So this machine learning with neural networks is about trying to get the application to learn from itself. You don't have to explicitly program it to do something. So how do children acquire language? They listen. They learn. When they get more data, they get more input, they listen more, they learn more. We don't really teach them. We teach them by keep talking. But they learn when we talk to each other, not when we talk to them. So Google has their Google Translate, and their AI just swapped their algorithm for a neural network. All of a sudden, the researchers noticed that apparently it created an interlingua. So now that algorithm, so what happens is that, imagine you have English, and you can translate English to Japanese. You have that all down, it's working beautifully. Then you create English to French. That's a good translation, but how about Japanese to French? Well, before that, you had to find like the common ground, which was English. You translate to English, and then from English to Japanese and back. So you're losing context. You're pretty much just doing like maybe phrases and word translations, but you're losing context. So what seems to have happened, this is also a thing about like deep neural networks. No one really knows what happens, kind of guesses, but since they're scientists, they can guess. It's all right. It's actually a viable answer, which is cool. But that interlinga made it possible to translate from Japanese to French using the bridges that it had learned. I think it's cool. What's also cool is that we reached a milestone in the quest for computers to understand speech as well as we do. In September, we reached 6.3 in the word error rate. This was the best that has ever been recorded in September. 20 years ago, the error rate was above 43%. 6.3 is awesome. And it's like, it's going to be a long time before we find the milestone, like the epiphany, where computers can understand us as well as we do. So that happened a month later. So a month later, we reached that, 5.9. That's equal to one of us transcribing what I'm saying right now. So we can have a machine doing that. They can actually listen, just like we do. So we're moving away from a world where we must understand computers to where a computer can actually understand us. I think that's awesome. So just to quickly, the advancements made in other areas, like how GPUs enable deep learning and how FPGAs enable like the first AI supercomputer in the cloud. So FPGAs, we at Microsoft have been installing these for more than 2 years in Azure. So they're now in like every node in Azure in more than 15 countries. So it's a huge network that you can use to apply your algorithms on. Really impressive. So what Doug Berger did at the Ignite keynote, he took the entire Wikipedia and translated it in the fraction of a second. That's using the first AI supercomputer. These all boil down to cognitive services. Everything, every advancement that we made, every service that we create, we're infusing it with intelligence and hopefully giving you cognitive service tests that you can use to better use the AI, to democratize AI in many ways. So the cognitive services has everything from ready-made APIs for visions, for text, for languages, for speech, for search. They're cool. I mean, the image stabilization, the object recognition, how you can get that from a service. It's really awesome. So imagine if we did that, imagine if we took all that smart, the first AI supercomputer, would you then get the end is near? I don't know. I'm not sure Alexa will ever turn into HAL. I doubt it. I don't think Siri or Cortana has much to do with the T100. Because what we really have right now is something completely different. So we shouldn't be worried about the AIs taking over anytime soon.
The Maltese Falcon is a favorite. I love anything film noir, but more recently, Inception.
They are cool.
Yeah, those, I mean, they're
Yes, they are. Tie-ins are also cool.
bit bad audio. So what happens is that they talk gibberish, and they kept on talking gibberish for like 12 hours. That's a fascinating Twitch channel. So 3 things. Do enable the built-in controls for your digital assistants, or have a very flexible credit card if you have kids. Look at skills and actions as a way to enhance the digital assistants and the relevancy that they bring into your world, into your customers' world. Because you can all of a sudden surface your applications and your products, well, soon, I would say, in a way that's never been done before. And a bet on machine learning, you can do it too. You're in good company. All big players are doing the same thing. So now that we're finding the area of bots then. What is a bot? Well, I would say that it's often just a facade. It's an interface for an application that's performing one or more automated tasks. Chatbots are probably the most common form of bots today. Others will emerge as time comes. Users can start conversations with bots from any channel, as long as you configure them to be there. And you can design the communication of your bots to be free-form, free-flowing, natural language. You can use form-guided flows. You can even use really advanced context like actions and buttons and cards and receipts. It's all up to you. We're in London. This guy was London-born. He was 19 years old. He created a do not pay bot. This is a simple questionnaire-enhanced bot, really. But it has successfully contested more than 160,000 parking tickets in London and New York, and it does so for free. It's just by following some questions and answers, it can determine if it should contest the fine or not. So some channel examples as well. This Joshua guy, I created way back. Should probably update him. But this is in Kick, which is just one channel. When I greet it, it already knows my name. So it knows who I am. It keeps on knowing me. So yes, they can keep state. You don't necessarily have to restart everything all the time. You can send pictures. You can use rich media. Everyone's been talking about like Tosh and all that stuff. I'm not going to do that. I will show you So instead. So is more like funny. It interacts and learns and then responds. But So sends funny photos, funny messages. But this is proactive messages. These are not in reply to something that I've stated. So this is the bot reaching out by itself. Probably like just triggers, but still. And even though I rush and type like crap, she has a sense of humor. So the Turing test or not, probably shouldn't fail it. So the Microsoft bot framework then is probably familiar to a lot of you nowadays. That's a comprehensive offering that we got that you can use to build a bot and to get on sort of an expressway into many channels. So the bot builder SDK, the bot connector, the developer portal, and the directory. So the directory here is interesting. Everything else is too. But the directory, because discovery is a problem, especially in the world of apps today, right? If you're writing an app, you're doomed. Well, not really. You can, of course, succeed, but most likely it'll take a long time and you'll need someone's money for it. Will we end up in the same place with bots once we flood every channel with, 3.5 million bots? It's like, I don't know what sort of flower bot you were referring to, but I have 75,000 in your vicinity. That's not going to fly. You need something more than that. So discovery is, once everyone gets involved in that and finds sort of consensus, I'm sure it will be better. But right now we have to surface it through bot shops or bot directories, and you have to really market them yourself. It's like Twitter, Slack, all kinds of channels. 77,000 developers have created bots within the bot framework. So it's a really dominant platform. If you're developing locally, you need to test locally. So that's why we have the bot framework emulator as well. So let's see if we can do a couple of demos. First one's bot framework. How are we doing on time? Oh, yeah, not good. Let's do this. Duplicate. So I wanted to show you the bot framework, but I guess I don't need that at all. There we go. So the bot framework, you can find at dev.botframework.com. This is also where you find that directory that I was talking about. Within the directory, what we surface as feature bots. We even have the all bots, where you can load more, keep loading. Some of them we created ourselves. A lot of them has been created by companies, clients like you. There's some great documentation going on here. Some might be hard to find out. So if you want to develop locally, let's say using Visual Studio, and you'd like a template for it, you'll first need to find that template. So you probably go like bot builder, getting started. Problem here, oh, sorry, wrong zoom. It is really hard to try and find the template. You can go and look everywhere. So you can go getting started with the connector. See this link? I'll zoom it in for you. So this is where you download the template. Front and center, right? It does have a quick link, but it just says here. So once you download that, it's easy to install. You just go here. So you install it as a template. This will get better. But once you've done that, you can go to Visual Studio, and you can go File, zoom in there, File, New Project, and we'll find the right guy. So it's on the templates, Visual Studio, bot application. When that gets created, what you'll end up with is this. Something that should be fairly familiar to all, because it's an API. This is your pretty standard .NET API. Because surprise, surprise, a bot is just a facade for an application. In this case, a facade for an API. And what it does something brilliantly. It takes the text that comes in and counts how many characters. That's all it does. And the bot framework emulator, download that too. It changed its names. Now it's called the emulator for the bot framework for some reason. When you run that, you can then test these locally. If it will wake up. Oh. So the bot framework emulator looks something like this. You select your endpoint, and if you have authorization or not, we can go hello NDC. You send hello NDC, which was 9 characters. This is the best bot ever written. But it has some fun things. If you looked at a bigger and more detailed example, there is the Conversational flowers that is available from the Bot Builder SDK's GitHub repo. Now this one is more full-fledged, and you can publish this to Azure, probably to any cloud, but I would say to Azure, and then it can run. So once you publish it, I can show you the bot in. Let's do it like this. If we were to register a bot, that flower bot, you go register bot, tell it stuff about the bot, you give it an app ID and a password, and then you create it and configure it. Once you've done that, you can connect it to different channels. Now, in order to save some time, I've done just that. So here is Flower for All. It's a very cute little thing. So this is connected to my Azure endpoint, where I publish that. And you can see in the chat, it says, welcome to Conversational Flowers. This is just for testing out here. So I've connected it to Teams, to Skype, to Slack, and to web chat. But it's all just using one code base. So this is the power with the bot framework. You don't need to write your bots for every platform, maintain separate code bases. You write it for one platform. Much easier. So if we were to look at that in, say, Slack, it would look something like this. Ooh. Besides me scrolling like a madman, go hello. It should wake up. Hello. While that wakes up, I can go to Skype and show you in Skype as well. Hello. See? I have Conversational flowers in Skype. I also have Conversational flowers in Slack. I can order flowers. It knows my name. It's amazing. Well, you can add addresses. You can use maps. You can get very, very detailed information, because it's all right for bots to request personal information, because they need to do their job. You can't expect a bot that sends flowers or buys flowers, buys a pizza for that matter, to send you that pizza if they don't know your address. It would be really hard. It's kind of like that Super Bowl thing. So let's quickly jump back to this one. Yeah. Can I do that? Can do that. Oh, I'm still in presentation mode. Ha. Okay. That was just a quick bot framework thing. Now, if you were to use this more seriously, you still use bot framework, right? You would add intelligence using the cognitive services APIs. Perhaps like intelligence such as language understanding, LUIS. So LUIS or Louise .ai, language understanding intelligence service. And you would host it or you take benefits of the cloud because it enables scale. It enables storing data. Because for a bot, it's really important that you store metrics and you store your logs, because you know what? People will try to abuse it. They will call it names. They will flirt with it. They will do all kinds of strange shit. And you need to act on that. So you need to make your bot better by learning from what it actually gets input to. So in Azure, we have something called Azure Bot Service. Now, Azure Bot Service is a serverless computing-enabled bot. It's quite a mouthful. It's based on Azure Functions, which is Azure Serverless Computing. And it gives you a development environment, it gives you publishing environment, it gives you everything within Azure. So let's see. Yeah, let's quickly show you that as well. We go portal.azure.com. Sooner or later. Then we create a new bot service. A bot service is located under intelligence and analytics. Gotta love doing online demos though. It's like, yeah, it'll get there. Intelligence and analytics. Bot service. It's all good. So let's call this one PD NDC bot. We'll use an existing. Put it in North Europe, and we're pinning it to the dashboard. So all I'm doing here is I'm giving it an app name, telling the resource group name, what it is, and where in the world I would like this to reside. Once I hit create, it'll run for a couple of minutes. It will create a functions space. It will wire up everything in order for me to use this as a bot service. So when you're writing your own bot services, you're writing functions, right? You're writing Azure functions. But when you're also writing bots, see, here comes this again. You need to create your own Microsoft App ID and set passwords. Oh. This runs fairly quickly, though. So you generate a secret, and you copy that secret. Then you, yeah, sorry for the Swedish. Then you avsluta and go tillbaka till bot framework. Yeah, like you always do. So the reason why I say copy is that you really need to paste it in here, and yeah, voila, it didn't copy at all. No worries. You can then go back and you can generate a new key. This happens every time I run this demo. So generate nytt lösenord. This is security by obscurity. Turn it into Swedish and no one gets it. Okay, let's just look at that. Thank you. Okay. So we'll close that guy. We'll paste it in. Now, we get to choose language. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. So, the templates here are for both C# and Node. They're different, but you get some fun ones. So let's go with proactive bot, right? Proactive bot sounds fun. So I hit create, and you can barely see, but there's a progress thing going on. It doesn't take that long. Once it's completed, the function is there, the code is there. Actually, the entire project has been created. Run for a minute or so, don't worry. I will show you one thing that's different about the function bot compared to the bot framework template. Perhaps some of you know this already, but the bots you write in Azure Bot Service, they're .NET Core. They're not just .NET Framework. So you got, right now you got Project JSON and all that stuff. I hope that's going to change too, because that's changing. So when you debug Azure Bot Service bots, you need to approach it differently when you're debugging it. So keep that in mind. With that said, there's a good link to that on the actual Azure Bot Service tutorial page, so that should be all right. Okay. Demoing, and it just keeps spinning. I would say take my word for it, but if it doesn't come up in 5 seconds, I think I'll just move on. That was a threat. Okay, it won. So, it is .NET Core. You get a test page. You get everything you need within that environment. You can publish to channels. You can publish your bot to the directory, all from within Azure. And you can also do continuous integration to it. But once you do that, you cannot edit the code anymore within Azure Bot Service, like in the IDE here. Just know that. But it's a fun way to try it. It goes really fast. Moving on. Takeaways. So dialogue design is really important. This is the equivalent of UI or UX of a bot. Don't mess it up. Start by thinking about your dialogue. Build your dialogue. Script it. Serverless computing is awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. And bots live naturally in the cloud. So jumping back to point 2 there. If you were writing a bot that no one was using up until December 24th, if you were Santa Claus, that was your bot, you wouldn't like to be paying for that bot January until December. So Azure Functions gives you that option of just paying for when your code is used. It's really beneficial. So there are tons of opportunities, tons. People are calling this the 4th industrial revolution. It consists of AI, machine learning, robots, bots, advancements in genetics, a lot of things. It will take away jobs, but it will also create jobs. It will create new opportunities. You can write a bot straight away. It's I was just thinking about this. You can think of it as one of those speakers that you could build. It sits in a meeting room. It connects using Microsoft Graph API or something. It's built on Bot Framework to connect to channels and all that stuff. It's using cognitive services to recognize who's in the meeting room. It's using cognitive services to transcribe speech to text. It's using cognitive services to even do sentiment analysis of the text to see if everyone's happy in the meeting or not. You can write that application right now. Where you can solder that little hardware thing together and you can go and sell that. That's a startup right there. So there's one final demo. It's the Q&A maker. So it's kind of like a bot as a service. Everything's something as a service right now. Oh, look, okay, so here's the IDE for Azure Bot Service. So you're too late, my friend. I'm going away from you. Q&A maker. I'm gonna close this one because I'm angry at him. So, Q&A maker. From FAQ to bot in minutes. It's pretty easy. You can create new service, give it a name. It's like NDC Genie. You can paste in an URL, or you can add files or something like that. So what I'm gonna do is, we gotta do like this. NDC London pages FAQ. Right? I'm gonna go create. So now it has created a Q&A bot from the FAQ of NDC London. It's that fast. So we can test this. Going to test. Hi, I'm NDC Genie. Yes, you are. We'll say, when will I get my tickets? Ticket. I don't know. And it replies from the FAQ. It's pretty impressive. And actually, you can also choose another answer if that's not like it's supposed to be. Or you can change and add new alternatives for the phrasings as well. And then you can retrain and you can publish this bot. And it runs. That's the swiftest demo yet. That's good. So, exited that one. Sorry about that. Some things to consider if you're writing bots. Oh, let's go back. If you're using language translations like Lewis, it doesn't have every language. Sorry, language translation, like language intelligence services like Lewis. So translate to a common ground. Translate your language to English and then send it to Lewis. You get better results. You shouldn't train Swedish on an English system. Okay? When you do onboarding, it's like just greet who's ever starting to speak to the bot and have an escape route, like a menu or a bailout scenario. Just quick help. And save the metrics, retrain your models, and just deploy. Final three things. The cognitive services are there. You should use them. If you find other services, other AI services, intelligence services, use them. The more we use these services, the better they become. And the more services will arise as well. And the fourth industrial revolution includes AI and ML and bots. So machine learning is really vital. And Kevin Kelly said in his TED Talk about the AI and the fourth industrial revolution that if all else fails, just create a startup, call it something AI, and you will get funding. Then you can figure out what to do. Just name it AI. So with that, I would say thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them. Otherwise, send me a tweet or an email. And that's it. Thanks.